Hello. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to host a successful party. But first, I have a story for you. Once upon a time, Jill was literally the worst party planner in history. But the only person who was a worse party planner in history than her was her brother, Jack. Jack and Jill decided to plan a party on the top of a hill together, a ski hill. In the middle of summer, they made their guests walk all the way up the big hill in order to get to the party. Guests were definitely not happy because when they got all the way to the top of the hill, Jack and Jill literally only had water for all their guests. No one was entertained. Jack and Jill, they were trying to have fun and they were wearing birthday crowns because they thought it would be funny. But on the hill, Jack fell down and broke his crown and Jill came tumbling after. But suddenly the party guests were watching the humor in the crown breaking and the tumbling and this chaos, and they thought it would be funny to follow Jack and Jill's example. Suddenly everyone was rolling down the hill and everyone was having a splendid time. Listen, you don't necessarily know what's gonna make a good party, no matter how much you plan, so just have one and see what happens. Now, if you want a few more practical tips on this, we'll get into that throughout the video, so join me in today's episode of Love Stories with Grady. Hola, I'm a 22-year-old boy who has never dated a girl longer than 22 hours, and I'm also a 22-year-old boy who tends to usually dislike parties, or I at least did not like parties growing up. Today's episode of Love Stories with Grady, we're going to be talking about what can make a party better so that you can enjoy them more. This episode was inspired by Chapter 8, written by Evelyn Millis Duvall, and Chapter 8 is called Entertaining Each Other. The focus of this chapter was talking about hosting parties, and the key to being a party host is making sure that everyone is having a good time. Now, this is easier said than done because the bigger the party gets, the less likely you are going to be able to cater to everyone's needs because A, everyone has different needs, and B, everyone has different wants. So if the party is maybe you and your dog, you might be able to know exactly what your dog would want. But if the party is you plus 300 people, there's gonna be a whole lot of different likes and dislikes. So I think of this kind of like camp, right? During the nighttime activities, there was the people who really wanted to be at the campfire. There was the people who really wanted to be playing basketball. There was the people who really wanted to be playing 9 Square. There was the people who really wanted to put together puzzles or board games. There was the people who wanted to play volleyball. There was the people who wanted to play gaga ball, right? And so you, as a host of the party, can either let people disperse to do the things that they want, or during times you might be able to pull different people together to have a center focus on one thing and to have potentially a group activity. If you're really looking for things to do at your party, I would just recommend going to Google and searching party ideas or different things along those lines. The point of this video is to get you in the mentality of hosting parties. Think of the worst party you've ever been to and then think, what would have I done to make it better? That's a good starting point to understanding, all right, what exactly was it about that party that didn't work, and what can I do in order to make sure that doesn't happen again for my party? The key thing to a party is everyone wants to fit in. Everyone wants to know that they have a purpose or a reason for being there. So as long as everyone feels somewhat included, whether it's just a simple hi, how are you doing, or whether it's them being the center of attention in a group game, as long as someone feels like they have a reason for being there at the party and they have fun while doing it, or they feel entertained by doing it, good for you. Also, you have to understand that you shouldn't be stressed by a party if you do plan on doing one. Yes, there are some complications, but you might end up like Jack and Jill. Not everything might go as planned, but you still might have a lot of fun. And also, you can't impress everyone. So no matter how many games you have ready or how many things you plan, there might still be some people who say, man, this is a sucky party because it's not exactly like what I want. And just remember, the party is yours, the party's not theirs. So if they want a party to be more like the party that they want, they can leave and go host their own party. When I was younger, the reason I didn't like parties or hosting parties for me, for example, why I didn't even like the idea of having birthday parties and different things like that is because A, I didn't necessarily like being the center of attention when it wasn't necessarily called for, like a birthday, what did I do? I was born, right? But also, I didn't like the idea of having mingling friend groups. As I grew up, I had friend groups from a lot of different places and areas and even belief systems. And so I wasn't sure what it would be like to have every single person under one roof. I was afraid of entertaining this person and entertaining that person and having them all get along when they didn't even know each other. I had friends my age who went to a private school. I had homeschool friends that didn't go to any school. I had friends that I ran public school cross country with before I started running private school. I had friends that I did drama with. I had friends that were a few years older than me that I really looked up to. I had friends that were from a theater play that I did outside of public school or private school. I had friends that I went to church with. I had all these different types of friends, and I wasn't sure what it would be like to see them interact, especially because I started thinking, oh, well, this person that I know is pretty quirky, which, cool, I'm quirky. But then I'm like, all right, this person that I would also invite is kind of judgy, and cool, I'm kind of judgy sometimes too, but what is it going to be like when this person is judging this quirky person? Is it going to be conflict? I don't know. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, And like I mentioned, I think last week's Love Stories with Grady, sometimes I'm known differently to different people. I wasn't quite sure how I would be perceived. And so I always just asked not to have a party. Now, as an adult, as a 22-year-old adult, I am actually kind of compelled by the idea of putting all of these people from different areas of life in one room and seeing what would happen. It's like the polar opposite, but I have no one organizing birthday parties for me now, so it probably won't happen for a while. But someday, if you're a friend of mine, I might invite you to a party just to see what happens. Anyway, my goal was to make this a shorter video. Hopefully it was a shorter video just because I can only talk so long about Jack and Jill. But if something in this video triggered a different thought or different perspective or different idea in regards to how you approach parties or what you think about parties or how you view parties, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. I love hearing your feedback on all my videos. And in addition to that, let's hit that subscribe button to pop up the subscribers in order to get this distributed in more hands. Do I have anything else to say? Yes, one more thing. I hope you have a good day. Keep on loving life and keep on living for love. Adios, amigo.